What if I told you that a boring, sleepy investment strategy has quietly made more millionaires than crypto, real estate, and stock picking combined? No, I'm not exaggerating. Warren Buffett, literally one of the richest men on the planet, has said that when he dies, 90% of his money goes into one simple investment, not individual stocks, not gold, index funds. And the wild part? You can start doing exactly what he does with as little as $5 using an app that's already on your phone. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how index funds work, which ones to actually buy, how to set up your account the right way, and the one mistake that keeps 90% of beginners broke for way longer than they need to be. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know more about building real wealth than most people who've been investing for years. Hey, welcome back to The Wealth Wise Way, the channel where we break down building real wealth into simple, actionable steps. No fluff, no jargon, no finance bro nonsense. If you're new here, we make videos for people in their 20s and 30s who are done living paycheck to paycheck and actually want their money working for them. Today, we're talking about index funds, the single most recommended investment for beginners by literally every financial expert, including Warren Buffett himself. We'll cover what they actually are, why they beat 90% of professional traders, exactly how to buy your first one today, and how much you realistically need to become a millionaire with this strategy. Let's get into it. What is an index fund, really? Okay. Let's break this down in plain English. An index fund is basically a giant basket of stocks bundled together into one single investment. So instead of you trying to guess which one company is going to win, like betting everything on Tesla or Apple, you buy a tiny slice of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of companies all at once. The most popular one tracks something called the S&P 500, which is basically the 500 biggest, most successful companies in America. Think Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all in one purchase. When you buy an S&P 500 index fund, you're not betting on one company's future. You're betting on the entire American economy continuing to grow, which historically it always has, averaging about 10% per year over the last century. Here's why this matters for you specifically. Instead of spending hours researching which stock might 10 times, you buy the whole market and let it work for you passively. This is exactly the strategy Warren Buffett recommends for regular people, and it's why index funds have quietly outperformed most actively managed hedge funds over the last 20 years. Simple, boring, and incredibly effective. That's the whole point. Why index funds beat picking stocks. Now you might be thinking, but couldn't I make more money picking my own stocks? Here's the uncomfortable truth. About 85% of professional fund managers, people whose entire job is picking winning stocks, fail to beat the S&P 500 over a 15-year period. If the professionals with Bloomberg terminals and finance degrees can't consistently beat the index, what makes you think you'll do better picking stocks based on a TikTok tip or a Reddit thread? This isn't me being harsh, it's just math. Index funds win because of three things. Diversification, which means one bad company can't sink your entire portfolio. Low fees, since index funds typically charge a fraction of a percent compared to actively managed funds that eat your returns with hidden fees. And consistency, because you're not gambling on timing the market, you're simply riding the market's long-term growth. Think about it this way. Companies like Blockbuster and Sears used to be giants, and they're gone now. But if you owned the index, you didn't need to predict their fall because new winners like Netflix and Amazon simply replace them automatically. The index adjusts itself. You just have to keep showing up. How to actually buy your first index fund. All right, let's get practical, because this is where most people freeze up. First, you need a brokerage account. This is just an app that lets you buy investments. I personally recommend Robinhood for this, and it's linked right below in the description. It's genuinely one of the easiest platforms for beginners because there's zero commission fees, the interface is dead simple, and you can literally start investing with spare change. We're talking as little as $1. Here's exactly what to do. Download Robinhood, create your account, and link your bank. Once you're in, search for a ticker symbol like VOO or SPY. These are two of the most popular S&P 500 index funds. Type in how much money you want to invest, hit buy, and congratulations, you now officially own a piece of the 500 biggest companies in America. It genuinely takes less time than ordering food delivery. The key here is consistency, not perfection. You don't need thousands of dollars to start. Even $50 or $100 a month invested consistently into an index fund through Robinhood compounds into serious money over time, which we're going to prove with real numbers in just a minute. The math. How index funds make you rich. Let's talk real numbers, because this is where it gets exciting. Say you're 27 years old and you start investing just $300 a month into an S&P 500 index fund. Assuming the historical average return of about 10% per year, by the time you're 57, you would have roughly $678,000. Now let's say you bump that up to $500 a month, same 30-year timeline. You're looking at over $1.1 million. And here's the part that blows people's minds. You only contributed $180,000 of your own money to get there. Everything else, nearly $950,000, is pure compound growth working in your favor while you slept, worked your job, went on vacation, whatever. This is literally the same math millionaires next door have used for decades. It's not flashy, it's not exciting content for social media, but it works every single time you let it. The biggest variable isn't the amount you invest, it's the amount of time you give it to grow. Which brings me to the biggest mistake I see beginners make constantly. The number one mistake that kills your returns. Here's the mistake that costs beginners literally hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime. Waiting for the perfect time to invest. People sit on the sidelines waiting for a market crash, waiting until they have more money, waiting until they understand it better. And years go by while their money does absolutely nothing sitting in a savings account earning basically zero interest. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Studies have shown that missing just the 10 best trading days over a 20-year period can cut your total returns nearly in half. You cannot predict those days. Nobody can, not even professionals. The second mistake is panic selling when the market dips. Markets go down. That's normal. That's expected. It happens every few years. But if you pull your money out every time there's a dip, you lock in losses instead of riding out the recovery. And historically, the market has always recovered and gone on to hit new highs. The fix for both of these mistakes is simple. Automate your investing, set it and forget it, and stay consistent regardless of what the news headlines are screaming that week. So let's recap real quick. Index funds let you own a slice of hundreds of top companies with one simple purchase. They consistently outperform most professional stock pickers, and starting with even a small amount through an app like Robinhood, linked below, can grow into life-changing money over time if you just stay consistent and let compound growth do the heavy lifting. The biggest takeaway from this entire video is this. You don't need to be a genius, you don't need to time the market, and you definitely don't need thousands of dollars to start. You just need to start today, whatever that looks like for you. If this video gave you some clarity, do me a favor and hit subscribe, because we're dropping new videos every week, breaking down exactly how to build real wealth in your 20s and 30s. And if you want to keep going down this rabbit hole, check out the video appearing right on your screen now, where we break down the best index funds specifically for beginners in 2024. See you in the next one.